Joining us now is former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, who's an expert on a lot of things. Governor, got to have some fun with this early on. I did help you get Becker County back in the good old days.
What, when I ran for governor?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
How did you do that?
Well, I was on the radio saying that you were the man for so many days. Come on now.
Okay, well,
right.
I just became aware of that. Thank you, Ed.
Governor, I got to ask you, do you think that Nancy Pelosi has played this correctly, and has she really beaten back a real push by the conservatives to make her look terrible in all of this? What do you think?
to me, it's very much a smokescreen. Going after the speaker doesn't get to the heart of the problem. The truth of the matter is, if the Bush administration hadn't done torture, this would all be irrelevant. So let's go who started it all, and that is the fact that, you know, Vice President Dick Cheney and his lawyers changed the name of torture. They call it enhanced interrogation, and they think that by just changing the name of something, that makes it acceptable.
Well, you have been very critical of the former vice president. In your opinion, as an American, do you think he's gone too far to stir this up, to pit one administration against another and saying that the president is weak right now?
Yeah, well, he's going to say that. After all, he's the opposition, and he's defending the position they take of taking us to these two wars and everything that went on for the last 8 years. I personally am offended greatly by the fact that my country now tortures people. I don't like that a bit. It's very much like an old friend of mine used to say, once the nose of the camel gets under the tent, there's no stopping the camel from being in the tent. And when you start to waterboard, where will it end?
Okay, and from your experience as a Navy SEAL, how do you think the SEALs feel about all of this?
Well, certainly I would hope they don't condone torture, because it's against the law. It's already been proven that you don't get information from torturing someone, because when you do torture them, they will say whatever it is to stop the torture. So it's not reliable information. And again, should we be stooping to the level of our opponents? I don't think so. You know, our country should be above that. And waterboarding is torture, because I've had it done to me at SEER school. And so I know what it's like to be waterboarded, and I find it very interesting that all the people that say, oh, it's just waterboarding, have never had it done to them.
Governor Ventura, respectfully, I've always called you that. Jesse, what do you think of this political sideshow or very serious situation in Minnesota with Norm Coleman and Al Franken? As former governor, what do you think Governor Pawlenty should do after the Minnesota State Supreme Court rules coming up in the next few days? What do you think?
Well, I think that whatever way the Supreme Court goes, he should follow suit and declare the winner, because Minnesota needs its second senator. They've gone through the process, and the initial election was so close that by law, I believe it required a recount. Well, when they did the recount, Franken apparently won. And it's time to move on. It's time to get going and let him become the senator, if indeed the Supreme Court rules that way, and end this matter. And besides, I find it very interesting that Norm Coleman, the Republican, in 35 years, he has never had a private sector job. I think it's about time, as a Republican, he finds out what it's like to work in the private sector.
Governor Ventura, good to have you with us here on the Ed Show. Thanks so much.
All right, very good. Thank you, Ed.
You bet.